Can you pass my water, please?
Hey, Drake.
I think as far as one thing, we all need to, especially people who have a platform, definitely becoming better speakers, because
I'm horrible.
as even though having a podcast, I didn't start doing this. I'm the dude in class not saying anything at all. I'm chilling, just trying to get through the day, just do my work and go home. That's all I was trying to do. And now all of a sudden, I work at a recording studio. I have an album out. I do a podcast, and I also host a podcast with somebody else. And I have to learn how to network to sell my business.
Yep.
So I have to learn how to talk to people.
It's true.
It has been a struggle. It's still a struggle.
Yeah, you're not alone, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't get better.
I only passed speech class in college because I was so bad at every single one that my teacher was like, if you do, like, you just get through this final one without, like, staring at your notes the whole time, we'll call it even. And I don't want to see you again. You don't want to be here again. And so I made brownies and I gave them to everyone while I was doing it so that they would all be distracted and I wouldn't be, like, worried at everyone staring at me. So that's how I passed an entire...
What was the speech on?
How to make the brownie.
Oh.
It was like how to do something, like a speech.
Man.
It was on how to do something, and I was like, well, I baked a lot, so that's it. There you go. But other than that, I'm horrible.
Tuition well spent.
Shish. It was, because better than if I had to take it again.
True.
That's a waste of
That's true.
time and
Okay.
money.
Legit.
Look, it happened. It's done.
I will say, as a word of advice to anybody, is just try to make your audience laugh.
Yep.
No matter if it's a good or a bad joke, just try to make them laugh with something in there that relates to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That always kind of eases,
Yeah.
breaks the ice. As long as you get, my motto is, as long as I get a chuckle, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's a chuckle.
It's the reaction, man. It's
like
knowing
the dead
that it's
silence where
it
it's
turns
like,
it into actual communication without like necessarily needing responses.
Yeah.
Just throwing words around.
Also, don't be scared of silence either, though, because that could either mean one, they're disinterested, or two, they're actually listening. So don't be scared of the silence. Just be confident, be calm, know that you know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and just keep it moving.
True.
Yeah. Good call.
One thing I never understood, though, was the underwear thing people used to say. Just think everybody's in their underwear.
Yeah. I don't get
That's
that.
weird.
Why? Who thought of this? Why is this an example or a reference? Hey, think everybody's in their underwear. What?
Yeah. I've had that same thought. I need to Google it one of these days because it's so ridiculous. I don't understand how it's supposed to be relaxing, like staring at someone and just.
You're in your drawers. What?
I always heard it was naked. Was picture them naked.
That was
worse.
I mean, the same thing though.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you're gonna
blocked
be
that one
real
out. I
awkward.
blocked the naked one out. I'm like, I'm not going to consider the naked one. I'll try the underwear thing, but I don't agree with the underwear part either. I'm just going to keep it like I'm
I don't want to see
talking
those
to
people
people.
in their underwear.
Yeah.
Pass.
Well, maybe someone want to see, but
Not right now.
But you ain't got the
Exactly.
time to scan
Right.
and find them and pick them out. Anyways.
Anyway.
Well, with that being said, welcome back to the 2.5 LLCs podcast. I'm your host, Dre, and also host Antwon right over here. And we have guest Jamie and Amber of Munjo Munjo.
Yay.
Work. That was for Munjo. He's not here at the moment.
Normally we would have an applause, but we don't have a soundboard anymore. So
I thought you were
there
going to
is-
say, but applaud for what?
We'll send a recording of Munjo barking.
in theory, there's a dog barking. They're called Munjo. And it happened already. We're just going to act like it did, and we're
right.
going to go on to this intro. First, we like to start off with our lucrative tip of the day, and that is be confident in yourself become and develop as great and better speakers because you have to talk about something, aka yourself, or what you want to do or promote, and want to get better every day. Lucrative tips for the day.
Solid.
Yes.
And with that being said, I want to get the most important question out of the way first. Why is Munjo 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 Munjo?
Like name-wise or existence-wise?
Name-wise.
So Munjo had his name when I took him in. He's a rescue.
Okay.
He had the name. Doesn't have any like real meaning or anything. There's no like cutesy story to it. But when we started making art stuff, we were brainstorming names and keeping in mind like logo options, like what kind of concepts would go along with the name. And I don't remember why it first came up, but we thought, well, his name is like, it's kind of cute. Sounds like it could be a foreign language. Doesn't have any like, you know, some names will put like some sort of
Like a
commercialized
connotation.
image branding like in your head, you know, gives you like an idea. We're like, this is pretty androgynous, I guess you could call it. And we looked up munjo.com and it was taken. That site is not a thing. It's just there. It's just registered. There's no like actual business there. Decided, well, what if we put the name in there twice.com? Like, I bet that's available. And it was available. So we were like, okay.
All right.
And that's literally how we chose it.
Yeah, we never expected to have it like on a storefront. So at the time, it was just like, yeah, that's fine. That'll work.
It was
for
kind of funny.
This thing next weekend we need.
Yeah.
And yeah, here we are.
Yeah, the name was like the last thing I think we really settled in.
Have we settled on anything yet?
It's the first thing we got tied to inadvertently.
Committed to, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Sorry, it's not a more exciting story.
Nah, it was just something interesting. I'm like, where did Munjo Munjo come from? It's such a interesting brand name, and your logo and brand is centered around the dog.
Yup.
Yep, it was not supposed to be, really. He was supposed to be the logo. That was it, the logo and the name. And we were throwing pop-up parties, like pizza parties and stuff, and at breweries, and we were taking him with everywhere because he's so small. Like, it's easy to cart him around, and once he's there, like, everything here was dog-friendly. So we're like, okay, let's just take him everywhere. And, I mean, everybody loved him. How could you not? Like, honestly. And he runs around giving high fives. So, like, everybody flips out. And I was like, oh, do you have anything with him on it? It's like, no, that's not what we are.
And, now,
And then after,
fast
like, a
forward
year and a
6
half,
years.
then we're like, yeah, he's on that shirt. He's on that postcard. But, like, even then, it was supposed to be, like, just a couple things. But a lot more has spun off from that. So,
It's true.
no complaints, I guess.
No, he's sweet.
He's a good boy.
Now, has there ever been a bad Munjo story from the dog's perspective? Has he ever lashed out on anybody before?
He's actually...
Like toilet paper, right?
No, he's the best dog. I have no idea. He's a rescue. The people who had him gave him up to be put down. Like, they just did not want him. They took him to the pound. Back in Chicago, if you drop your animal voluntarily, they put it down. They give you a few days to come back, and they put it down. They were like, yeah, that's fine. He peed on a lot when I first took him in, but I got him fixed. Never happened again. At least not, like, without me neglecting him or something, like not taking him out or something. He's never chewed on anything. He like digs into his pillow where he sleeps, but like he doesn't go around just like tearing stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. He's a
He
he's a
did puke on my
Pomeranian.
bed.
So like when I was offered him, they just sent me a picture and they're like, "Will you babysit this Pomeranian?" I was like, "No, I don't need that like thing running around like nipping at my ankles and chewing on my shoes and all this." But they were like, "Well, he's gonna be put down." So I was like, "All right, I'll take him." And like he was just chill. He sat in the corner. He didn't want anything to do with anybody. There were two other dogs. He was just like, they hang out. He comes out to eat, comes out to pee. Eventually, he sat on my desk next to my laptop, and like that was it. He came down to eat. He came down to pee, and just stayed there. He's always been super, super chill. Mm-hmm. The one bad thing that he had done was a total accident. Amber was getting up in his face, not in like an aggressive
Oh,
way,
yeah.
but like he's also not a cuddly dog. Like he's much friendlier now, but if you got
had a
close to him
bone.
before, he would run away.
And it was time to stop chewing on that bone.
Is that what? Oh, and you were
Yeah,
taking it
was-
from him.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's too much.
He is a very, he used to bare his teeth a lot. Like if you were like taking something from him, like his toy or his little bone or his food dish or whatever. But for whatever reason, Amber got real close to him, and he like barked and like whipped his face at her real quick and hit her.
He's
Like
got
didn't
this
bite her,
little
but hit her.
Funny teeth.
Yeah, like his teeth kind of go out. You saw his teeth; they go out. So like they're kind of side daggers. But he whipped his head so quick, he hit her like right on the inside of the nose, and then I
That's, like,
guess just
bleeding
hit,
everywhere.
just hit the right spot, and just boom, and he flipped out like not like an aggressive way, like he took off. He climbed under a clothing rack or something.
He was like under my bed, like
Yeah,
hiding. Like,
and
oh
like
no.
would not come out, like because he thought he was in trouble. I'm assuming, like just by the way he was hiding, but like that was the only thing, and it was accidental. Like it was very clearly accidental. What?
One time we couldn't find him when we first moved out here. And where did he go? He had climbed out the window onto the roof and was
Yeah.
like on the edge of the porch's
Peeing
roof.
off the roof. He peed off the
And
roof.
we were like, holy crap, like how do we get him to like
Yeah.
come this way and not go this way?
Yeah.
But so we were like looking everywhere, like how could he?
I was out in
where
the
would he
yard
be?
yelling, and I would look back at the house, and I see him up there looking at me like,
It was awful. But that's it.
Yeah.
That wasn't really him being bad. He just wanted to go outside.
yeah, exactly. He was curious.
Yeah.
He got loose a couple times the first time, like the first couple weeks I had him, and he dug under a fence. He got between like the gate and the fence, and he got out the front door once because somebody didn't close the door all the way.
It wasn't my fault. Door didn't
But-
latch. I
But like
mean,
normal dog
whoever
stuff,
did that.
like not necessarily bad stuff. Like he wasn't fixed yet, so he got to
He's a
sense
wild
something,
boy.
and he was just poof. And the other dog was like, "Oh, I better follow you." So I'm like out there chasing him down the street, and one of the other dogs is just trotting behind him, like minding her own business. But that's
Yeah. It's not too bad.
it. Nah. Never bit anybody or nothing like that,
Yeah.
and he can't now.
Peeing
Doesn't
off
have the teeth for
actually
it.
Sounds fun.
It's not fair.
So how do you
Yeah.
go about bringing them to life? Like you just said, what would be the
Man.
process for it?
It kind of depends on what we're doing because we don't do shirts of everything. We usually start with stickers because just they're cheap to make. People always buy stickers, and it gives us a way to like test run the artwork for something. But like specifically for something like this, I'll probably go through a bunch of my old photos and try to find like an actual picture of Munjo peeing or like in a video or something and get like a still frame of it. Use that as a reference, draw it on an iPad, and then drag it into Photoshop, add the logo or text or whatever extra little elements to it. The printing part is the bigger hurdle because depending on the art, screen printing, or like plastisol heat transfers, or embroidery, or just the stickers or decals, like the window decals. Like that's kind of what I was thinking was the window decals.
Yeah.
But like, also if you break it down to that type of artwork, the detail in a dog might not look right. I don't know. We'll probably mess with it in like different versions for like 3 months and then forget about it and then be like, dang, we really got to release that, and then spend another month on it. It's
Little by little.
yeah,
So-
it's a long process, but only
So-
because we're so like in what's the word?
Perfectionist.
Indecisive. Yeah, perfectionist too. Once we decide.
Yeah. I
But-
constantly have to be like, dude, we just need to get it done. Like, sometimes
Yeah.
it just
So,
has to be done, not
One
perfect.
concept takes about, you said about 4 months, or it just depends on.
It kind of depends.
It depends, like, how obsessively we work on it.
Yeah, yeah. And also if it's important, like timeline wise.
So do you have
Yeah.
a favorite piece that you have?
I really like the new Shroom stuff.
Yeah.
Which actually the hoodie she's wearing,
Oh, yeah.
it came about pretty quick. She was just like drawing on her iPad and was like, "What do you think of this?" And like she worked on the art for a while, but once the art was finalized, I don't know if we were looking for garments or something, but we came across like this hoodie and a one that's all pink tie dyed, and we were like, "Oh, that goes perfect with the mushrooms."
Because it, like, shows through the,
Oh yeah.
like, the artwork's
Yeah.
kind of like a negative
So we ordered the blanks for, I think we did a sweater, like a pink sweater, that, and 2 different T-shirts. And the print itself, we did those at the factory. So we did a batch of like 50 total or something, like among the different pieces. But as soon as you had the art finished and we knew exactly what we wanted, we were in there printing it like 4 or 5 days later. But they aren't all that quick. Like, it was
always
that piece. Like, that just came
like
together so
something I was working
perfectly.
on, and I was like,
I like it.
Yeah. There's one we have that's like, it looks like a pentagram, but it's the dog. It's like the ears and like the floof and his snoot and all that, and it glows in the dark. And that like pentagram art, I got the idea for it because when he gets upset, he like looks down and looks up at you, and when he looks down, his fur like splits, and it looks like a pentagram, like from that angle. And that was like the very, very first thing I drew of him, like 2 years before we even had this brand. But it wasn't until like 2 years into it that I had been sketching and finally was like, oh, that's the one.
Okay.
So then once we had that, I think we printed it like a month later or something, but only because I filled in the outside of it with like the phases of the moon, you know, like the circle, half circle, like all the way around, because it's the moon and it's Munjo.
yeah.
So like that one was a much longer process just because it took that long to get to where we liked it.
Yeah.
But
I think
that was
I
one
had
of my
shared,
favorites too.
like some like partial drawings, and people were like, I love it. Like, I want to see it on shirts. And I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I got to do it.
We
So,
do post a lot, especially to Patreon. Our close friends list on Instagram is basically our patrons and then like some of our closer friends. And yeah, we'll share stuff like that in there just to get feedback. Because if somebody, I shouldn't say if somebody says they don't like it, but if enough people say they do like it, like we'll know it's a good idea. And like we'll kind of rush that through. But there's stuff we've been sitting on for, God, I don't even know how
plenty
long.
of time.
Been trying to do a Munjo driving a little like VW bus or something, because we were going to do a road trip thing that was going to be the artwork that we released. Man, I've been working on that for like 3 years, and it's nowhere
One of these
closer than
days.
it was a year ago.
One of these days.
We dip our hands in a lot of stuff at the same time, and it's just the two of us.
So will Munjo ever, I guess, wear like headphones or be in front of a microphone or anything like that?
Like for art, you mean?
Yeah. Like Munjo at the studio or something.
We did, well, actually, I did a version of him wearing headphones, because I don't remember exactly what we had planned on doing, but we started doing like interviews with artists that we were then gonna, not necessarily a podcast, but like audio recording stuff. And I made a logo that had headphones on him. I just didn't like how it looked, like merchandise wise.
Gotcha.
And I ended up ditching it. But I mean, it doesn't mean it's not something we might do later. I mean, there's stuff we pull up months and months later that we're like, oh, that wasn't a bad idea. We were just doing it really crappy. But yeah, maybe gotta keep coming up with ideas. So
Yeah.
you know, at some point I feel like we'll have done everything, and then we'll just start recycling. No, not really.
I mean, that's what the best do, right? Just do everything the creative first, and then they just recycle and take from everybody else afterwards. So
You're not wrong.
still like an artist.
Right.
Nobody's truly original, man. I mean, even our stuff, like, people are like, oh, it's so different, it's so creative. And, like, not to diss Raleigh, but it's like, that's because you live in Raleigh. Like, in Chicago, this is normal. And it's not that it's, like, better than
There's just
anything
more
else.
weird stuff, I think.
Yeah, it's just, it's more
Even if
prominent
it's weird,
up
it's, like,
there.
Very weird.
Yeah. It's been,
Just ignore him.
yeah. I'm done.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So how'd you all get started owning a business?
How did we get started?
Man, honestly, so much of what we're doing was unplanned. Amber, I don't even know where to start the story, but essentially, Amber moved back to the States from Japan, and we just started making art stuff together. Like, we'd already
Yeah,
made art
I
stuff
didn't have a
together
job.
before.
So I spent a long time. Many days in a row, like, just hanging out.
Sitting around
Using
making
his art
art.
supplies because I had nothing
Yeah.
with me anymore.
And we did do, were you in Japan when we did the postcard? We did a postcard. I had an idea. I wanted to do a collaborative postcard series where I was gonna do like a mixed piece of me and some other artist every month, and then was gonna send postcards to people. And it wasn't like a business thing. It was just like it was an idea I had. I wanted to make some postcards, and I made the first one with a friend in Arizona, and then the second one I made with Amber while she was in Japan, and that was as far as that whole thing got. But the postcard we made was really cool. We really liked it.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, we should do something else. We should do something else.
Should make more art together.
Yeah, like
about
so
as
many people do. Like
big,
I'm sure
yeah.
y'all talk to people like, yeah, we should do something together. But like actually making stuff happen.
Yeah.
But then she came back from Japan, and we're both there all the time. So we started just messing with art stuff again. Decided to move here with just the general idea of wanting to do something like artsy. No idea like as far as a brand or events or anything. Just like we knew we wanted to make art. We knew we could make cool stuff together. And then we moved here, and the art scene here, there's just so much cool stuff here. But there was no hub for it at the time. Like we had done a couple pop-up market or gone to a couple pop-up markets. We went to a couple cafes, and like we would just see these random pieces of art that were just like, okay, there's clearly some cool shit, cool stuff here in Raleigh. Can we swear?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was like, I didn't really ask. But yeah, so we were like, we should get more involved with this. And we kept walking to this store by where we lived that sold local art stuff on consignment. And a lot of it was like gifty stuff, like very gift shop, less art. But the owner was like, oh, if you guys make buttons, I'll sell them on the counter for you.
Yeah, we kept telling him, we make art. And he was like, well, bring it by, show me. And we were just like, yeah, we will.
Yeah. We eventually put stuff on buttons. I had an old button machine. So we just made them and put them in there, and they were selling. So we were like, oh, let's do a couple stickers. And stickers started selling. We made a little like printout display case, and he like put it on his counter. And then those kept moving. So we were like, all right, let's do something else. And then we planned out, I think, like 3 or 4 shirts.
I think it was like 2. It's like a pizza and
the tag one.
Yeah. Is that
And
right,
then
though, in the beginning?
The bears.
Oh, yeah, okay. Fair.
And then like a couple with a logo on it, but no name. Nothing had our name on it. It was all just some neat art stuff. The tags had our name on the inside. But like that was pretty much it. But we planned that stuff out.
Yeah.
And we decided we were going to do some pop-up events as like a launch party. We
Very
bought a
casually.
Yeah, very much.
Like at the bottle shop in either direction from our house, like a block. One here, one there.
We were just like, let's just order some pizzas and go like with a stack of pizza boxes that have T-shirts in them. Because one of the designs was a pizza. So we like packaged them in pizza boxes. We bought a capsule machine, like a 50-cent machine. Put a bunch of buttons and candies, put a little fortune from the dog in there. Yeah. And that was it. We
found a treasure chest somewhere, like a little wooden box, like treasure chest.
Like the one you get at the dentist's office, that you get the little toy out of at your visit.
We got a bunch of like Easter eggs, and we spray painted them all gold. Oh. Then we put in them like if you bought a shirt, you could pull a thing out and get something else extra.
Yeah.
We still have it, maybe.
It's still there, yeah.
But it's like this.
Just a bunch of little ideas that we were like, that would be neat.
Oh, no.
Let's throw a party and do it.
Yeah.
And then it just like snowballed from there. Like we started doing things. We started getting invited to things. We started doing festivals. I think it was our second year. We did every event we could. Like every single
day
one.
I wasn't working was at a festival or some kind of market. Some days it was both. Work and then run over there.
It was exhausting. Because a lot of those were not worth it.
Well, yeah.
But we found the good stuff though. Yeah, so we found out that what was happening in Raleigh really wasn't our scene. Like it was very like trendy stuff, Instagrammy stuff, handmade stuff, like as opposed
crafty.
To like original art stuff. Yeah, crafty.
More
tradesy. I don't know what the terms are for that.
More crafty and like a lot of pottery.
Yeah, maybe. A lot of that. A lot of pottery and jewelry and stuff.
But
we did meet a few cool artists too that were like kind of more like what we were doing and kind of out of place and that stuff. So like we started to see the need for it. We started to organize our own events with those artists, basically like trying to build this, I guess you could say like a subculture in the art scene.
Like the alternative art scene in a way.
People just say we're like the weird ones. We keep getting called weird, which is okay. Well, we've embraced it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now like all like the weird artists will come and be like, "Oh, we heard about you guys." And like now we have the store, it's just everything has snowballed from something else. Like none of it was really like, let's go do this now. It was all
we
like,
never were like, let's go get a store someday. It was like, man, I'm tired of setting up at all these markets. Here's an option to like have a store for like a month of Christmas. And it was like, all right, let's like make it happen. And so we did that, and I was like, this is the dream. I don't have to pack my car up every before and after, and like
don't have to go set up tents in 90
I can like
degrees
sit at a
in the
real
morning.
table and like actually work on other stuff instead of like freezing. So
yeah,
that
but it
was,
just
like-
kind of it grew into that. It wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be all that. That's why we're like, it wasn't supposed to be a store. It was just supposed to be our
art.
our art, like our creative outlet that hopefully didn't drain finances.
Yeah, maybe we'd make some money on
Yeah,
possibly.
but yeah, so I guess the answer is accidentally.
Yeah.
I think there's an element of chance/accident that contributes to everybody's success in their fields and whatever that is, music, art, writing, whatever somebody does. You have to have a chance or, I just slipped into something type of thing happening for it to snowball. But from what else you have said, it also seems like that you have immense creativity in what you do and are able to find out ways to make something happen out of what you're trying to accomplish in your field.
Yeah.
And also hearing from your talks and other interviews you all have been on, y'all both have parents that have immigrant backgrounds as well. So there's also I'm not gonna be able to do this from getting help from anybody. I have to do this myself. I'm not from this country. I have to do this for myself and my family. So I believe, anyway, I could be wrong, but that got instilled from your parents to what you've done so far in the business now. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, honestly, like, my parents are not, well, I mean, they're cool now. Well, my mom's cool now. My parents were not into the whole creative endeavor thing when I was younger. But yeah, like, ethics-wise, like, as far as, like, well, just because you said I can't do it doesn't mean I can't do it. Like, that side of it, I think, was accidentally imparted on me by my parents.
Yeah, same. I mean,
but yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's also like we couldn't have done this if we were in Chicago still. Like,
not the way we did. We would have needed more money. We
yeah,
would have needed money, period.
but also like there's more of
think.
a lot of what we've done here isn't us being like, we've got this great groundbreaking idea that we want to like release. It's been like, well, you know, back home we used to do this and it was really cool. People really liked it. There's no reason we can't do it here.
Yeah, it
And
just
then-
wasn't happening here yet.
Yeah,
Basically.
that's pretty much what it was. So like our live art battle things that we were doing, I'm pretty sure you were the one that was like, oh man, I went home and
Yeah.
so and so
My
won this
neighbor
art
was
battle.
like, I went to the coffee shop and they were like, hey, you know, this guy's your neighbor. And I was like, oh, cool. And he did like awesome paintings. And he's like, I'm in this art battle down the street. And I was like, cool, I'll go. And it was like super awesome. Way more detailed than ours. But like, it was at like a big, like a music venue and they gave you little tokens and like you could vote on it and stuff. And it was fun.
So we did almost the same thing, like very, very similar, complete with the crowd voting with I think we did balls or little balls or something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Either way, but yeah,
of
like
paper.
like you're right. We were here at the right time
Yeah.
when there wasn't stuff like that happening yet, and when like the local pop-up market scene, even when we first moved here, was when it took off here. Like every school and every church and every
It started showing up like every church was having one.
every brewery has
every coffee
pop-ups
shop
now,
was
and
having
like
a market. It was,
it was at the point where it was so common that it wasn't hard for us to just be like, just slip in somewhere and like put our stuff in front of people.
yeah,
But yeah, a lot of it was chance. Definitely not.
chance and just keep going at it, even when, like,
Yeah.
I think we did a hopscotch like market one year, and we were just like set up and we were just like, yeah, all right, this is okay. And this guy that I think everyone in Raleigh tends to know named Jed had like a Instagram account
At the
that
time.
was super like popular, with like local stuff, and he just took a picture of our pizza box and posted it, and all the next like, I mean forever after that, but even like the next 2 days, people were like, oh, that's that pizza box, and they were like, yeah, we gotta get it. And then even like a year or two later, people were like, I know you from that pizza box. I was like, what the heck? So every time I see Jed, I'm like, point him out.
Thanks
like,
again,
Jed.
man.
Yeah, like, thanks, dude. We didn't even know him. Like, we didn't talk to him. It just showed up.
We followed the Instagram. Like, it was
We were
that
like,
popular
"Who
when we
is
moved
this?
here.
Like, what are these people talking about? We had to go find it. But, yeah.
Chance, man.
Anyway, thanks, Jed.
What's the biggest challenge y'all faced so far?
Money.
Honestly.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's me because I handle all the money, kind of. Just like,
Yeah.
we didn't really start this with any money. Like, our printer fronted us some of the shirts until we paid
Pretty
them
much
back.
everything.
Buttons were cheap to make, so we just made them in our free time. And like the whole time we've been working, we've had like full-time jobs. So even now, like, I work at morning times a couple days a week, and Jamie still does freelance design
Yeah.
stuff.
I work door to bar on the weekends, too.
That too. So it's kind of like we didn't come into this with like all this money to like start a business. It was just like little by little. And it's like now we need to put more money into it to grow certain things, to like make it like it's trying to take off, but it just needs a boost. So
There's always the problem of like marketing stuff too. Like that's such a big task.
Yeah.
But we're a little bit older, and we come from the days of just like sticker slaps and stuff, you know. And we in that
word
first
of mouth, throwing up posters
like
on the light poles.
like we when we had the hopscotch thing, we spray painted stencils of our logo all over downtown, and then spray painted the date and location of where we would be that day, and like that kind of stuff. It helped us make an impact, but like getting people to care, like people saw it, but getting people to care what it is a whole nother challenge. And what has helped us out a ton is that in that first year, not us, but maybe somebody we know put a good like 700 to 800 stickers up around the city of our logo, just on street signs,
just kept giving him
bar
stacks, and
bathrooms.
he'd come back and say, I put them all out. I need more.
Yeah,
Like,
but
okay.
even to this day, we get people that are like, I see this around all the time in my neighborhood,
know
and I
what
didn't
it
know
is."
what it was, and I saw it on the door. I had to come in and see. But like,
Yeah, definitely wasn't us.
but yeah, getting people to remember your stuff and care enough to go back to it or something is
Yeah.
definitely the tough one. Even now, like, we try to keep Instagram and stuff interesting and engaging, and
It's time consuming but you got to do it kind of.
yeah, you absolutely have to. We have
But
the
it
luxury
does
of
work.
being able to do it every day, and being able to, if we need a video or something, like, we have the equipment and the skill to like go knock something out real quick. Like that stuff makes such a big difference when you put it all together and you have this cohesive package. People look at our stuff and they're just like, man, y'all are doing it big. We're like, not really,
Like,
man.
no.
Like,
I'm
we're
glad it
5 years
looks
in.
like
We
it.
just started taking a little bit of money out of it from the profit.
Yeah, like
It's
earlier
like-
this year.
Yeah.
But,
But it's what we do. We don't, like,
yeah.
I mean, honestly, if we weren't doing it, what else would we be doing?
Yeah.
So we just keep
I
going.
don't like just sitting around, so
Right.
I don't mind staying busy.
Even when we were waiting out there, she's like working on a design on her tablet, like just like out there drawing.
This was due like a week ago. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So 5 years in, and y'all just said y'all starting to make a profit off of the business.
We're just starting to pocket some of the profit.
Okay.
When we first started, I think I had like $1,200 to my name or something, and like that's
Yeah,
what we
less than that probably.
that's what we started like getting all of our stuff moving with. And then we made that little bit back, took back what we had spent on it, and then all the rest of it went back into it to get more stuff.
Yeah, it's like it's made money. It just we've always poured it right back into it to like get more things or different things or do this other event. So
Yeah.
like one time we really needed the rent money and we paid rent with it, but like it was one time.
Yeah.
Like
For the most part, like she said, like we both still work. Like
yeah,
our bills are paid with our jobs.
for the
And
most
that
part.
that gives us the luxury of not having to write paychecks, basically. You know, that gives us the luxury of putting that money back into the business. But once we like had the store and like realized things are like it's a real business now. Like there's things moving around, there's time that has to be put into it. We had to take more time to put into it. I mean, she had to cut back her days at work, like stuff like that, you know, and like you can't just do that if you don't have money to make up for that. So that kind of eventually
It's not a problem. Like, I don't mind it. You know, I'd rather be where we are now versus like 5 further years down the road and like have just worked extra hard for a few extra years.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But yeah. What was the question?
I was just trying to think of that. Would that answer the question you asked?
Sorry.
So pretty much it was just 5 years in, y'all just now starting to use a profit from y'all business to.
Yeah. I think
do
now
other
we're
stuff.
putting so much of our time into the business that we were like, okay, we have to take something because I can't work 5 days and put like 60 hours into this.
Yeah.
So it was like,
It wasn't like, let's take this money. It was like, if we're going to put more time into this, like, we
like,
have to get paid for it. Like, or burn out and not do it at all at some point.
And it's not an option.
Yeah. Go hard, right?
Only way to do it.
Right?
Yeah, true.
So, what made y'all realize that how much funding you needed to at least get it off the ground?
Man.
Well, we got lucky when we started. So before we moved here, I owned a print shop in Chicago, screen printing shop. And I sold it to a friend, basically. And when I told him what we wanted to do, he had built this company. When I sold him my part of it, we were in a garage with a press. And, like, I mean, we had all the equipment, but we were literally in a garage. And when I went back to him and was like, hey, we're going to do this thing, he's got a warehouse. He's got multiple presses. He's got 2 shifts of people.
It's grown it like crazy.
Yeah. So he was like, well, let me know what y'all need. I'll print it all for you. I'll just put it on your bill. Just pay me back. And that is what allowed us to really go forward. And like another thing that we learned is you have to be consistent with releases. You can't just put something out and then a year later put out something else. So we put this stuff out. It's moving, but we still have this debt. But he's being flexible with it so we can get our next batch. So now we've got seasonal releases and like we're building up some debt that's like slowly paying off. But we were lucky enough to not have to be like, now I got to drop $1,000 out of my pocket so that this continues to function like a business from the outside, you know?
Yeah.
But that's been...
We weren't really a business for like the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Like we only became technically a real business. This gets off the record. No, I'm just kidding. Like maybe 3 years ago.
We pay our taxes, man.
To do a big festival, we had to have insurance, and to get insurance, we had to prove that we were really a business.
Yeah.
So then we had to be a real business,
Yeah.
according to the government.
Yeah.
So-
Like understand, or I shouldn't say understanding, but like
Yeah.
when we realized, to the point we realized we really had to put money into it, I think was when we started to do more festivals. We started to get more attention. We started to get more people that we had to like prove we were a functioning business to, and like have more new stuff and have little promotional things and packaging and like, but
Collect tax.
yeah, pay taxes and,
tax.
all that and register as a real
Yeah.
business.
Ugh.
But like by the time we got to the point where we really had to do that, we'd already been putting enough money back into it. Like we still weren't taking money at that point. So we were already kind of in momentum. So it didn't really hit us that hard. Getting off the ground would have been a lot harder if that dude hadn't have done that for us.
If
Like
we had to wait till we had money, I don't know when we would have started. I don't know if we would have been
Yeah.
able to ever start much of anything. It would have been like one enamel pin,
right.
one run of shirts. 4 months
Yeah,
later.
he covered all
like,
our pins for us up front too.
That's true.
Like, yeah, we were able to go all out, and he still does that for us too. We still owe him on a couple of our recent runs. He
Certain
did our
things.
mugs, our camper mugs and stuff, and
Certain things we still go that way.
yeah. I had to text him the other day though, be like, hey man, no, we haven't sent you any money in a while.
It's another
But they
story.
changed their accounting system, and like
So I can no longer make like a small payment.
Yeah.
So I have to wait till I have like one whole invoice ready.
we had worked out a thing where like we'll just send him this much money every month to pay it off. But then they got a new system, and they're like, you pay it all, or you don't
that's
pay
in
any
too
of
much
it.
detail. Yeah. It's not important.
But yeah, people need to know these business things, man.
Yeah. Find someone who will let you pay partial. Part now,
Credit
part later if
accounts.
you can. Or ask your friends for small loans.
Oh, that was the big time we were like, we need money, we need it now.
Yeah,
We
maybe.
there was this holiday pop-up thing, and it was like 8 artists or something.
Yeah.
or everybody had these little rooms in this building, and the city pushed the whole thing as this big holiday event. Like the opening day was a big party thing,
Like
and the
a horse
closing
and
day was a
carriage.
big, it was like a Santa there to
Santa.
take pictures with, and a room of puppies sponsored by some rescue or something. But they were like, if you want to be in this spot, it was like $500 or something, and they're like, you got till this day to pay it, and we were just like, well, we don't have that. Like,
Like, that's a lot of money.
yeah, I mean, it's man. So, anyways, Amber, working at a cafe, was like, got some regulars that I'm kind of friends with. They got a little bit of money.
They seem like they're not too
They
worried
seem
about
like they'd be into this. And she straight up got loans from her friends
Just
at her
small,
work,
like $100.
work friend. Yeah,
But it's from some customers, and I think one of my coworkers and my friend back home, and I think we put in the other one. But I told them all, like, the first, like, $100 we make back is, like, goes straight to you, and I put them in little envelopes, and I was like, we can't do anything with this money.
we gave them all a
So,
free shirt too.
Like
Like that was
something
the
like that.
interest, was a free
Yeah.
shirt. But
but
they,
I paid them
they
back
liked it.
really quick, a couple weeks later.
Yeah,
It's
real
just
quick.
like-
It worked out really well.
They were kind of like, who else is doing it? Someone else agreeing to this crazy
Yeah.
like first, and I was like, I got one other person, and I think I got another, and they were like, all right, if you get someone else confirmed, I'll do it too. And I was like, okay. But yeah.
I forgot about that.
Oh man, yeah. I'm gonna call them up.
Send them some thank you cards. Hey
Yeah, I
guys,
did.
we're
I
still
did.
around. Send them another one. We still
Yeah.
exist.
But
Send them a Polaroid of Munjo.
When you look back, are you surprised at how far, possibly how fast it's going?
Both,
like every
honestly.
month, whenever I like go through and I check out like some of the artists we work with are on consignment, so I pay them out at the end of the month, and like every month I'm like, man, this person's getting this much, like can you believe it? And then I'll be like, look at this month last year, and I'm like it's just the littlest bit ahead, but we're just like,
Yeah.
can you believe we made this much? Like every month, even
Right.
one time we made like much smaller amounts than now, and we were just like, holy cow, like 5 people bought stuff. Like every month we're just like amazed.
Right.
I think still. And
We've
I keep
gotten-
saying like, are we always gonna? Is there ever gonna be a time where I don't be like, we're this much ahead? Look where we are. Like
We got like
I don't
3
know.
online orders, I think, in like the last month or 2 months.
every
And we're
online
still,
order is like,
people are ordering
"Ooh."
online now. What?
Did you
Like
see
it's
this?
really not that
It's not
much.
one of
It's
our
really
friends
not
this time.
impressive. Yeah, that's the other one. It's like, I don't know. You know this name?
No, what?
Who the hell?
Who did this?
It's definitely weird. Like
yeah.
we can kind of see what's worked and what hasn't, so it's gotten easier to like predict what will go over well. But still, like there's stuff that is like, even our events and that, like we did a like an art show thing, and we had it was like a pop-up, bunch of like the weird artists that we were doing stuff with, and then a couple of them doing a live thing on stage just like next to each other, and then a big like a panel with, it was basically a group piece, like we wanted people from the crowd to add to this thing. And at one point, like I was in the back and I just kind of looked around and I was like, dang,
People came.
yeah, people came to our event.
People came out
It's
to
like,
this.
we put this together, dang, we gotta do this again. And it doesn't always work like that, but
Sometimes it's not great turnout. Like
yeah, we had one in the same, I think it was the next one that we had in the same spot with a couple of the same artists. And about an hour in, I was like, if anybody wants to go home, the next one, I won't charge you a vending fee. But if you want to stay,
it
we're
was,
going to
like,
drink
some
and
other
make
huge
art.
thing was happening that night. Yeah, but everyone was like, "Nah, we're cool. This is fun."
Yeah, I don't think
Like,
anybody
okay.
actually left. Like, everybody was like, all right,
Nobody
let's
was
drink.
mad that we know of. They still talk to us. So
Yeah, they still do stuff with us, so.
must be okay.
But yeah, I mean, every time something goes over well, we're kind of surprised that it
Yeah.
worked.
We did a pre-order this year for these Valentine sets that we make every year, and we sold all of the like pre-order special bundles ahead of time for once, which like we've never sold more than like 10 ahead of time.
Yeah,
So
it was
we're
the
like,
first
holy
time
crap,
that it
like,
paid
what?
for itself before it even came out.
Yeah,
was like,
we couldn't believe it. We're
dang.
like, whoa, we made the money to like actually pay for the supplies. This is
So you see-
exciting.
Y'all do seasonal bundles, so you have like a Christmas, a Thanksgiving, or
Not quite that seasonal, but not quite that seasonal yet.
But
When we
try.
started, yeah. Well,
We
when we
do
started, we tried to
Halloween.
do like quarterly, like the summer stuff,
okay.
some fall stuff, like hoodies and then tank tops in the summer or whatever. And we tried to keep on that schedule. We're really bad with keeping on schedule.
We're
It
just
also,
bad at getting stuff done far enough ahead of time.
yeah,
Like we want to do like a summer batch with like a beach towel and a bag and a frisbee and stuff like that, and it's like
and then it'll be November,
And all of a
we'll
sudden-
be like, so
yeah,
let's
it's
look at
like-
hoodies.
yeah, like now I'm like we need to prepare for Christmas now because we're already late for that basically.
Yeah,
in
but
terms
we
of that.
like the Valentine's thing is an annual thing, so like that's
We're, like,
become
5
our
years in.
seasonal thing. Yeah, we just
So
did our
it's-
fifth one of that.
Now we know. Here are the
And then
hard
Halloween, October, we do all like monstery inventory. So like any of the artists that do like skull drawings or like gory paintings, like everybody brings that stuff in. So it's not always necessarily a release as much as it's just like something that we've got into the habit of doing like
Got you.
every year or something like that. We still try to do like summer releases and winter releases at
We
least.
kind of do,
Some
but
stuff.
it's not like a huge bundle like we would like to be
Right.
doing it.
Yeah. We'll release like a couple of things and then we'll like sprinkle stuff in like every few weeks or something. Like
we have,
we'll add
we
something
have a lot
random.
of people that come like every other week, and I feel like whenever they come I'm like, oh man, we need a new thing. Like I have nothing new to show them since they were here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a little bit of a good encouragement to like keep working on new stuff, even if it's something small. So,
Yeah.
yeah. One day, we'll get,
We'll be on a real schedule. Planned and kept.
yes.
We do pay our taxes on time.
Yeah, don't come after me for
Does that
that.
count?
Yeah.
Do that.
Some of
I'm
them.
going to reiterate that every 10 minutes. But we pay our taxes.
You will not come finding a notice on the door.
Oh, God. One day it's going to happen.
Anyway, there's a coffee shop that closed when we first moved here. They had like a big notice on the door, and I think it was because they didn't pay their taxes. And so I think that's like burned
Yeah.
into my skull. Like,
It was
hope
the
I
hip
don't
coffee
get
spot.
embarrassed
Like,
by.
everybody went there. And then
So-
one day, out of the blue, just one day, locked up with a sign on the door. Like,
Employees didn't know, I don't think.
no, they didn't. It was a
So-
whole mess.
Anyway, we'll pay the taxes. Just pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Don't let them come after you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, if you did pay your taxes, like the video. If you didn't pay your taxes, still like this video anyway.
And then get your shit done.
Exactly.
Don't get in trouble for something like that.
Exactly.
Get in trouble for more exciting things.
Yeah, get in trouble
That
for
sounds
wanting to achieve success. Because
Yeah.
sometimes to achieve success, you have to go through trouble. You might have to sneak into gyms if you're a hooper. You might have to sneak into festivals if you're a musician or you're a possible in the future vendor. Might have to sneak
Yeah.
into a few events, to
Look,
get where you need.
Load up your
Sneak your
bag with
painting
merch.
into the Louvre. Or was it? Is that where he snuck his painting into the
I
Louvre?
don't know.
Wasn't it Banksy or no?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Do y'all know what I'm talking about or no?
History.
I'm pretty sure it's Banksy went into this is before he was like super huge. He went to the museum, the Louvre, and he hung his painting like in the gallery by
slipped
everything
it up on
else.
the wall.
Yeah, he like brought it in his jacket and just stuck it up there.
You think we can get away with that here?
Could try it with the portrait of Munjo.
Keep an eye out. NCMA is reopening soon.
All right.
Keep your eyes peeled. Wasn't us.
As far as y'all journey has come, what is the biggest, most impactful event that has happened to y'all so far?
Jamie?
I'm gonna say it was that Christmas pop up thing, the one that we got people to like give us the money for, like to actually happen, because that was I think when we were finally like, this is so much better than dragging
Markets.
stuff out to a field
Yeah.
in the sweltering heat, and then standing out there for 8 hours hoping to
Well, nobody shows
sell
up.
a couple.
'cause
Yeah,
it's a
hoping the
terrible
people
date.
even show up, but
Hiding out
also
in the
spend some
back.
actual money to make back that vending fee, and then
Yeah.
then packing it all up and going home, and then doing it again the next day.
Yeah, that was like, we did that, and then it's like the dead season for a few months, and while we were kind of like laying low, planning for stuff, it was like, we should look for like a pop-up spot like that, but not where there's 8 other people that we have to like share this weird space with.
Yeah, something with better traffic
And
and that.
so we started looking, and we met up with like the Downtown Raleigh Alliance, and they helped us find like the next pop-up, and then that kind of led to where we are now. So it's like, it seems like a little thing.
That was a big
It's not
turn,
super
yeah.
exciting, like
Everything
flashy
that
thing, but
that we're like getting into now definitely spawns from us having the storefront, the physical storefront.
yeah,
And that was only an idea because of that event.
yeah.
It was only a 3.5 week thing, I think, or a month or
Mhm.
something.
And it was supposed to be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like 5 hours a day kind of thing, and we were like, that's not enough. Like, and we talked the manager into giving us a key to the place because he lived so far away. He was like, if you guys want to open up, I don't care. Just don't bother me. I'm not coming in extra. So we're like, okay. I think we still have the key,
Hmm.
but it doesn't work.
But we were in there every day.
Yeah, I think we
Every
opened
single day.
almost every day or every day. And even there,
Yeah,
like,
it
we
went
were
really well.
nobody yet. Oh, we're still not anybody, but, like, every day at
But
least
now
one
people
person came in and
recognize
bought
us from that.
something. It might have
Yeah.
been $1, but it was still, like, somebody came today. Like,
Yeah.
cool. We're like, okay, this could be a thing.
Yeah. And had we not decided to go stationary, like, because having a storefront in any spot that we've been has generated just like foot traffic business that surpasses our monthly like web orders or pop-up sales and that. So it's given us much more of like a stable foundation, like not just location wise and like visibility wise, but financially. And all of that is like
Yeah.
that's
Because we did the
really
math.
what
Like, every market we do is this much, and, like, we can only, if we do just every Saturday and Sunday, it still was, like, close to what our rent was at the
Yeah.
original pop-up. So,
and we're
it
spending
just
all our
made
money on
sense.
food trucks at every festival
yeah.
we do.
'Cause you're standing there hungry.
Man.
You got there 3 hours early to load in, and yeah, we spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
But those things cost more than just the vendor fee. And then you want to look at everyone else's stuff, and then you want to buy stuff, and then just a downward slope of money draining.
Spending that little bit of money we made that day.
Yeah. Although trading people is a good plan.
Yeah. It was still worth it.
Barter with other
Because like that's where we
artists.
met all the artists and stuff that we
Yeah.
do stuff with, and
We couldn't be where we are now without having done that first, I think.
yeah.
So, yeah.
What would be your advice to anyone who's on a similar journey or adjacent to this kind of field?
I got 2 things. One is I think we're both on the same page for is don't stop doing it if you still want to do it. Don't be like, well, nobody's listening to this one or this one's dumb. Like, do it, because so much of what we're doing is not that we were like, well, we were better at this, we had cooler stuff. No, it's because we went to every single thing and like met people at every single thing. Like, we have junk sometimes, like we really do. But I mean,
I'm offended.
but I didn't mean anything of yours.
Okay, good.
But the other thing is that there's an audience for everything, and I think like in
Yeah.
internet age, it's much more accessible than it was like when we were growing up.
There was
But,
no
like,
internet. It was very almost non-existent.
The dial-up
world.
days. But I mean, even the crappiest bands, and like the crappiest rappers, and the crappiest anything, they've all got biggest fans. They've all got somebody that will buy every piece of merch they release. They all got somebody that's gonna spend everything they release on repeat. You may not find those people right away, but that don't mean that they're not out there. That don't mean that your stuff isn't worth putting the effort into.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Okay, I have a number 3, which is just don't be afraid to ask for something you want or need, because like
Yeah.
everything we've done, like asking people for loans, like they could have just said no, and it would have been like, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even like our like store now is like, I asked like the owner of like half of downtown. I emailed him personally and was like, hey, just curious about this empty storefront. Hey, and then like 7 months later, I got a call back, and like I went into it being like, well, worst he can say is no,
Yeah.
and then whatever, you go from there. But just don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
Poke around.
Don't be
Don't give all your
pestering,
secrets,
but
but-
be persistent.
Yeah. Don't keep it a secret. I don't know what that's meant to be. Yeah, that's all I got, I think. That's all I have to add.
Yeah. I'm reading a book right now called Think and Grow Rich, and being persistent, that's definitely one of the keys in there for sure. That not procrastinating is another one.
Oh no, yes. Don't do that.
We're terrible. Yeah.
And also just having determination of wanting to get something done.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Those are really good points. Yeah.
And it seemed like y'all have all of those qualities
Mm-hmm.
in y'all, and that's how y'all have gotten to where y'all are so far and in the future.
It's probably true.
That's all we do.
Yeah.
Like, honestly. Like,
Yeah. Even when I go like on vacation, I'm like, like looking at places, like making notes, like, oh, this is a good idea. Like
Going
they're
to
doing this
stores
well.
and being like, we'll reach out to this store later.
Yeah. You
like
guys
to
carry
send them
Munjo
stuff,
Munjo?
or,
No?
like- We used to
One-
like, on our
Yeah,
out
the
of town
next
trips,
day.
we used to go and like scout stores to travel to and do pop ups.
Yeah, we'd
and,
try to like find places that would be good for
Yeah.
pop-ups, and I still do that
Yeah.
a little bit. But
Kind of
just
all,
never stop
everything we do
learning.
ties back to, it'll be good for Munjo.
Yeah. I try to make everything I have to go to. Like, well, how can we make Munjo tied in? Make the most of this trip.
Yeah. But yeah, just keep going.
Yeah.
Don't stop because somebody didn't like your shit.
Yeah. You can make it for them.
And if you're really worried about it, then just get better. Put the time in, learn it better,
Yeah.
and do a better job. You're not going to be great in the beginning, like, regardless of what you're doing. You
Oh,
got to
go
get
up.
to that point. It's
Yeah.
cheesy, but it's true. Like, it's honing your skills, you know?
True.
And having a background in that field, or knowing people that have that background and are willing to
Yeah.
invest. Because
Mm-hmm.
also, you may not call these people that, but these people are investors that who
Yeah.
helped you.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, people helping you make merch, giving you funds to make rent or get
Yeah.
storefronts.
Putting their time and money into it just to support it.
Yeah.
And y'all have one of the most common and loved things on the planet, a dog.
Right?
That's gonna sell itself in general. Say, oh, they have a dog as their logo,
Right.
What? What's
Man.
go- and it's
If
in
he
the
could operate the
store.
register,
That's why we
he could just-
graciously accepted that he is part of the, like, truly the brand. Like, not
It's
just
weird
a
when
cute
he
guy
goes
there.
out for a walk for 10 minutes and people come in. It's like there's no dog for them to see and like meet. It's just me, and I'm like, hello, sorry.
We do get a lot of people that come in just to see him.
Yeah, I've disappointed many.
Like, we're on first name basis with people that have never bought anything from our store. Because they'll come in like once a week just to see Munjo and pet him. Like,
Yeah, that's okay.
that's whatever. Yeah, that's fine. That's what he's there for. Attention. This is
Yeah.
all just to give Munjo attention.
Mm-hmm. And treats, tricks,
Yeah, treats.
treats.
It's not a
Treats.
business. It's a way to generate treats.
It's a treat front.
There you go.
It's terrible. Just ignore me.
I wonder how the Munjo actually thinks about. I don't know how
Oh,
dogs
no.
process thoughts and brains, but I know there's something in there like, yo, I have this whole brand sitting around me. I'm
Right.
right. Cool. I almost was not here anymore, and now I'm the center of a brand.
Yeah, I don't know if he realizes that.
He understands
The
something because
extent
he's
of-
gotten to the point where you tell him like you want to go to the store, and he gets excited and starts spinning and that, and he comes in there and he just plops down staring at the door
Runs
waiting
right
for
in,
people.
like, yeah.
When we close at night, if it's nice out and like we're down there, he'll lay down there and look out the door or whatever. But as soon as we're like lights out and he sees us getting ready, he runs upstairs now and just like, because we have our studio upstairs. So he's like, all right, store's done. Let's just go.
Hangout time upstairs.
Yep. Like he definitely understands like the differences between the places, and like he knows he goes to the store and people come and feed him and give him attention, and that he knows if he goes to a certain like block, he knows that's the bar where everyone's gonna pet me. That's the place I can't
might
go
find
into.
food on the ground.
Like yeah, like he's learned the
Yeah.
differences between. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't understand like, man, I'm a
a
star. But he's
I wonder how many
definitely
dogs just think they're the star anyway.
right. He knows something's up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that too. I look at him and just be like, man, you almost weren't here at
If
all.
only you could talk.
And then he'll just look at me with his tongue hanging out of his mouth since he ain't got no teeth.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I'm allergic to dogs, so at first I was like, what is this furry ball of like gross? Like we can't hang out anymore.
Yeah.
Guess that's the end of our friendship. But then I petted him one time and I was like, holy crap, this thing is so soft. And then the rest is history. Now he
That
sings
was the
out on my
true
bed.
start of Munjo
It
Munjo.
really was. Activated. Just needed the right brushing of his hair. Yeah. Anyway, what else?
What was your biggest hurdle?
What do you think?
I don't know. I don't mean to make it seem like we don't have hurdles. We just
I just only remember the good stuff.
I was gonna say part of that, and part of like when things haven't worked out, we've just kind of been like, oh well, fuck that, and go do something else.
I guess.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, sales in general it's like it's always hard to convince people whether they like your shit or not to actually spend their money on it, and then like even then to get them to not just buy a shirt, but then like wear that shirt, because people buy to support all the time, and like that's cool. That's super cool. That's foundational. But the people that bought to support and then go out and talk about it and share it, like that's where it builds up. And it's not easy to get people to do that.
I feel like right now is our biggest hurdle. At least for
Yeah,
me.
we are. That's fair. So
We're in a weird transition
yeah,
right now of like trying to open a print shop again. We were printing like a year ago, and then that shop kind of was like on its way to being done with. Their lease was running out, and we're like, man, we got to print again. And we're kind of like at a point where we're being offered a space. We're figuring out if we can afford it, and it's like I just want to start printing now.
yeah.
And
Also like being in the new spot, like a big part of the current store is taking these artists, these local artists, like the muralists and that, who make awesome art but don't know anything about web stores or like merchandising and that, and helping them produce stuff. And then so basically helping them take just their art and then turning it into something, and then using that something to actually generate sales to give money back to this artist.
yeah,
And like
we're trying to launch that basically as a program.
yeah,
To some degree. Where
but
it's
that
like,
requires money
money.
up front. And we could, in theory, do it all on credit and rack up this debt and stuff. But we're also to a point now where we want to be able to finance this stuff ourselves. So, like, we've got a few artists in mind. We've got a few products in mind. Don't have the money to produce all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, the way we've been doing it, since we've mostly been producing our own stuff, is make it, sell it over time. When the money's there for the next thing, make the next one. Make enough that we like have the money to afford it, but also will make enough money to fund the next batch.
Basically, we're trying to run a store, work our side jobs, and launch like essentially an art publishing thing and a print shop.
Yeah,
So I'm very stressed.
yeah.
But
It's
it'll be
definitely
great.
it's
Once-
more that there's so much to handle like right now.
Yeah, and I don't have money to pay someone else to, like, I don't want to ask someone else
That's
to
the
work
other
for free or
thing.
anything. So like,
Yeah.
it's like we need.
But honestly,
help,
that
we
comes
can't.
down to finances. Really,
Yeah.
is not having the money to be able to just do something, which
Yeah. It's
everybody's
fine.
in that spot.
Yeah.
So we have two important questions we like to ask every show. A word or a phrase that makes you great.
Makes you great.
Yes, a word or phrase.
Or your business great.
Oh, okay, like about us.
Yeah.
I know it sounds a little tacky, but community over competition.
Elaborate.
I mean, we're well aware that we can only do so much, and not only as we can only do so much without help, but we can only have so much of an impact, like as two artists doing a brand, and that's why like so much of our stuff, like our pop-ups, our group projects, the other 20 or so artists that are in our store, like all of that is part of not us trying to sell our stuff. It's us trying to develop like visibility, I guess, for local artists. I don't know if that's the right way to put it.
I think part of the phrase is just like it's easy to like look and be like, oh, this person's doing these shirts, like we got to do better, but you know, like that's a good thing too, but it's better to be like, well, let's work together on stuff instead of being like, I'm gonna do better, like
Yeah.
you know, like try to
Like our store didn't just like make this cool thing for us. Like
yeah.
the artists that come in that we're helping merchandise and that, like the point of it being here is to give this platform for all these other artists in our community who, I mean, they make awesome art. They're cool people. There's no reason they shouldn't at least have some sort of income coming off of this skill that they've perfected.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that hurdle for them is like getting it to people, whether it's getting it in a store or building a web store, like getting it from that notebook like into people's hands and making enough money off of it to do it again. And
keep doing what they're interested in.
yeah, and every phase that we've grown, like when we have a little bit more pull to do something new, we aren't just like, cool, let's jump on it. We're like, all right, well, who's actively doing stuff right now? Who can we get together and what can we do to utilize that space? If we push everybody's art to a certain level, that becomes the standard. And then from there, like our art will be like average or whatever, yeah, but like the art scene as a whole will be elevated, essentially. And the more people are coming together and working on stuff together, the more we have this bigger, more visible, more marketable like art scene, basically.
Like everybody benefits.
Yeah.
Basically, when we work together.
Yeah, and the new store has been the best practice of that. Like we're really seeing now, like the artists that we pull in. Like when we first got that spot, it was supposed to be temporary. We thought like 3 months, and we hit up all our art friends. We're like, "You got inventory. We got a place where people are gonna see it.
Bring it. We'll see what we can move.
Yeah, we'll sell everything we can, and then we'll give you back the rest of your stuff."
I don't think we gave anybody back much of anything.
No, it
if anything,
worked.
we were like
People responded really well, so we just never left.
Yeah.
It's a real lease now, but but that's how we ended up like staying in there.
Yeah.
So like now all these artists, like we're seeing these checks that they're getting, and like we know it's working basically. Like we know for sure that the checks we're able to cut from this, these artists are able to produce new stuff off of. So like that was the intention with it. So now that it's working, we're like, all right, well, now we can produce it for them. And then we can even sell it for them. And then we just keep writing them checks to keep making the art. And that'll build this little hub where we're at right now. And hopefully that'll keep growing from there.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
And I believe you have answered this question already. But just to make sure, what is your brand?
Like...
It is an expression of random creativity.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's us not growing up.
That's kind of what we call it. Yeah, it's a brand for overgrown kids, like
adult-sized
old
kids.
but not grown up.
Yeah, we still do goofy like coloring sheets and like
yeah.
We just did hacky sacks because that's cool.
We did it just because we were like, oh, I missed my hacky sack from 20 years ago. Let's make some.
If
And
only
people
we could
actually
make
bought
pogs.
them. So then we were like, oh, well, let's make nicer
Yeah.
ones. So now we got new hacky sacks. But
Yeah, it's a brand that hopefully makes you happy. I don't know. Ignore
Yeah.
that part. That's lame.
I mean, to some people, we're literally just a store. Like, we're like a gift shop.
Yeah.
To some people, we are event promoters. Like, we're a bunch of little bit of many things, I guess, and we're just trying to make it all work together. Is that a
Is that
suitable
more
answer?
confusing? Is that
Right.
worse?
No,
You're all of
it's-
it.
It explains it.
All right.
Because when I first went on your website and saw for overgrown kids, I said, it's like, huh? Then
Oh, no,
I
is it
looked
too
at what was
weird?
there. I was like, oh, okay, this is starting to make sense.
Right.
It's kind
Get
of
it,
like
all right.
silly stuff. Like the art is silly sometimes. Like it's not too serious or like stuffy. Like
Yeah.
a little potty mouth sometimes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
one of these days we'll do more cool shit.
Another lucrative tip of the day: don't take yourself too seriously.
For real.
real.
It's not worth it.
No.
Absolutely
Yep.
not, man.
Yeah. And if anybody has a van out there, it's like the Dumb and Dumber van, let us know. We need that for Munjo's van.
Can restyle it in Munjo's hair.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of a brand for overgrown kids. Sorry, just never know. You gotta put things out there.
yeah, that's how we do it.
I'm not joking.
I know.
Call me if you have a van covered in fur and ears.
Listen, if you have a van covered in fur with ears, like the video, hit Amber up. She
Yep.
wants to purchase or look
Maybe.
inquire about the
Maybe I
van.
can just borrow it for now.
Yeah.
See how it goes. Sorry. Back to the serious.
With that being said, do y'all want to ask us any specific questions?
Man.
Man, I could pick y'all's brains about this like all night, but I'm gonna save it. We would make our whole own episode, honestly, just asking y'all about how y'all got into this, and
Go ahead.
we don't know
ask.
nothing about you, man. we
Yeah.
we chatted with him earlier and just picked his brain about all sorts of stuff, like.
Music
But-
stuff.
But yeah, how did you get into this? Do you do music too?
How do you guys
Yeah,
know each other?
Turn
Sorry.
your mic up. Turn your mic
Too
up.
many
Turn your mic up. Face.
Well, can you hear me? Hear me?
Yes.
All right. I got into it basically. I started in church,
Oh, okay.
basically setting up mics, running the soundboard. When people wanted copies of the service, cassette tapes,
Oh,
anymore,
man.
but
Oh, I
yeah.
remember.
So I used to make copies and things like that. So it kind of started from there, and then that was the recording side. But as far as like making music and beats and things, it was just I seen it one day. They made a whole song, and it's still crazy to me to this day how you can make a whole song with just like a keyboard, because I didn't know you could program drums from like
Yeah.
a keyboard. And so that's where the interest kind of came from, and from there I just kind of been stuck.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Do you still do music stuff? I'm assuming, or so do you work here too in the studio? Or?
Well, I intern here.
okay,
Yeah, but
nice.
I have my
engineering
own
and all
studio.
that, or
Yeah,
nice, dude.
yeah.
That's awesome. That
Yeah.
I don't know what program y'all are running on, but that stuff is so over my head. And I've been doing music for, dang, I'm old,
You're old.
man. I've
20
doing music
years.
for a long time.
25 years.
Probably, man. But like, yeah, the recording console stuff has always been so over my head. But you use Pro Tools and all that, and
I'm actually a Logic guy.
nice,
Yeah.
good deal.
My Logic.
I know a little bit of GarageBand.
Yeah,
That's about
right.
it.
I don't know any of it.
It's GarageBand's big brother. That's all Logic is.
Yeah.
It's a big brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you switch over, or if you do in the future anyway, it's not going to be too much of a change for you. You're going to have actually more control.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, a
It's
lot
pretty much
more
the same
control.
thing. You can open up
Okay.
GarageBand files in Logic and
What?
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sold.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to get a copy of it
Oh
then.
no.
Yeah.
I got enough things going on right now. I'm just kidding. Go
I
for
got
it.
a MIDI keyboard, and I had it set up, especially when we moved into the studio. I was like, now I'm gonna have a spot where I can plug in, can record all this stuff. I ain't done none of it.
We'll get there.
But it's it's there, little by little.
Yeah.
Nice though. That's awesome. You still are you? I know you said you intern here, but are you still like making music stuff? Like
Yeah, I record. I have my own. I just came here for
okay.
more knowledge.
So you have a full on studio.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Here in Raleigh.
Nah, I'm from Henderson.
Oh, okay. Man, you drive out for this?
No, I live here, but
Okay,
it's
but you're
not-
okay,
yeah.
okay. One of the things I said to him earlier was like he's the second or third person that we've met since we
In
moved
like
here.
7 years.
That's like born and raised in Raleigh.
I say it all the time. I don't know anybody from Raleigh.
It's so weird. I like it though.
Where'd they all go?
Maybe there was just nobody here.
Any more questions y'all would like to ask us?
I'm good. I think we're good. We're gonna think of a bunch of questions like in the car on the ride home. We're gonna be like, I wonder what blah 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 blah.
Where do you
Like,
get
we should
your
ask.
inspiration from usually?
As far as music or podcasting?
Both.
Both. Okay. So podcasting, I listen to old podcasts that I've done because I've been podcasting for 4 years now.
Dang.
Nice.
So this year's been 4 years been podcasting, going through the ups and downs and in betweens of it. And
How long has it been here?
a year, almost. In September, it will be a year
Gotcha.
as far as doing the podcast. And as far as inspiration goes, listening to my old stuff, because I used to do podcasts at the school I graduated from. I was the head editor, pretty much the head podcast person at the time, besides the two people who helped created it.
Nice.
I became because I just knew the stuff as far as the audio stuff and the editing process and cutting stuff up for promotion. But it was news based, so it wasn't free form conversation yet.
Gotcha.
I helped bring it over to that point, but at first it was just news topics and then shut off. Very short.
Weird.
I ended up injecting what knowledge I had at the time and just build it on from there. And also doing my own podcast on the side as well with the people I was doing it with beforehand.
Man.
So just doing those things, obviously still being in school, trying to pump episodes out whenever we could because we could have been consistent, but school thing kind of just jammed everything up. So figuring out when to do. We were a traveling podcast before too, so we were pulling up to people's houses,
Nice.
organization buildings
That's
at
awesome.
the school we
Yeah.
were at. So we were just on the road podcasters for about a couple years.
Okay.
And then we ended up, because I started working here 2 years ago during the pandemic.
Okay.
So, and I asked, and co-owner of the studio was like, yeah, you can do your show here. I was like, all right, cool. And that's when we started doing the podcast here
Yeah.
and also doing last few episodes on this as well. And pretty much that's how we've been doing it ever since.
Nice. When you say we, the both of you?
Now it's the both of us. Before
Okay.
it was at first 3, then it became 4, now it's 2.
Okay.
Gotcha. So is this your first podcast? Like regular podcast?
Would you say yes or no? Because it's one I was doing before this. Both of them are here, so I guess this would
Okay.
be
Gotcha.
yes, no.
Here.
It's technically his
This
second
setting.
podcast he's a
Yeah.
part of. Technically
Yeah.
second.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't know if I all the way answered your question as well. I said inspiration for myself,
yeah.
but also listening to other shows and wondering how I and co-hosts can make the show better and hear, all right, what makes the quality of a show? Because it's not, podcasts are not just podcasts, it's an actual show.
Yeah.
It's a beginning, middle, and end with stuff in between that happens. And recently just found out how to kind of market and promote 2.5 LLCs. You can at least get 2.5 lucrative life conversations out of the show.
Yeah.
That was just recent,
Nice.
literally last week.
Nice.
But it's still a process. And other shows, they have a thing. So also liking the video. Everybody says liking the video differently. If you like this video, you can get you can get free hugs or something like that. Here, like the video, you become greater. That's pretty much how we're doing this so far.
Yeah.
Nice.
And just listening, analyzing, researching, and
Yeah.
it's also a way, as I found out recently, to network with people as well. Because instead of talking in a place that you don't want to be at, or having a drink if you're not a drinker,
Yeah.
or being around people you hate or you might not know their vibe is just that bad. Hey, come on the podcast. We can talk. We can talk. We can have a conversation.
When it's meaningful and there's like some sort of
Yeah.
content to it, like it's easier to make it flow.
Yeah, and it's a trade-off of value. It's not just, oh, I get something from you, you don't get anything. Nah, we all have promotional material from this, so.
Yeah, that's true. I gotta say too, man. I mean, obviously there's a lot of podcasts out there, and we were listening to yours, and like, it's well done, man. Y'all do a good job with it. Like, it sounds good. Like, it flows well. Like, it's legit.
Just trying to make it better at each and every episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta.
Cool.
So, unless anybody has anything else they want to say.
Think we're good.
All right, this is the conclusion of the 2.5 LLCs podcast. If you want to find us, 212 LLCSPOD on Instagram, 2-1/2 LLCs podcast on all podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Podcasts, and every other streaming platform around. Also, if you like the video, stop playing with yourself. You will become greater once again. And still, if you want to find our guest, where can they find you all at?
Instagram, Munjo Munjo, pretty much everywhere. Munjo Munjo, with the exception of Facebook, where it's Munjo.
You'll find it if you just put in Munjo. You'll be fine.
Look for the little puppy on the red background.
Even TikTok.
Gotta bring that up though.
I mean, it's funny. Kids are on there. I hate it. Anyway, moving on.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate
Thank
it. For real.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting us.
And where can they find you at, sir?
You can find me on Instagram at CarterBoy2521. It's gonna change soon though, but
Okay. And you can find me, RETROD.R.E on Instagram. Retro Dre as well on YouTube. That's capital R, lowercase e, capital T, lowercase R-O, space D.R. capital E on YouTube, and as well as on all streaming platforms music-wise, too. And we appreciate you all for being a part of the 2.5 LLCs experience. Until next time, like the video and you will become greater, and we hope you got a lucrative conversation out of this show. Peace.